2 et 1, 2, 3, 1.
The Narcissist and Borderline Tango. If you've researched narcissism enough, you will come across the weird and odd, strange connection between people with borderline personality disorder and narcissistic personality disorder. I'm here as a borderline to tell you, yes, it is true. And I would say 95% of all the guys that I've ever dated, they were all narcissists or narcissistic spectrum traits, the full-on disorder, you name it. But we definitely attracted to each other. It definitely could have worked in a lot of ways. It definitely didn't work in a lot of ways. But I'm here to give you the borderline's perspective of why we dance the tango we do, the War of the Roses. There's many, many names for it. And I'm also here to explain to you why it works and why it doesn't sometimes. I mean, I respect doctors, you know, who have their opinions, but a lot of them, they're clinicians, therapists who are giving opinions based upon, first of all, either their own opinion or at very worst, they're going to go based upon what the patient's telling them. Let me explain to you one thing about the disordered and doctors. It's like a drug addict talking to an officer of the law. Do you really think he's going to tell them everything that he's thinking or what he's doing? No. It's an authority figure that has the authority to condemn you, put you, you know, basically, when you're disordered and you look at a therapist, it's like, oh my God, that's the person who could label me crazy. You're going to say what you need to say or, you know, play who you need to play to get through that 1 hour session. You know what I mean? So, but on a real level, when you're with people in the real world, you're gonna be yourself and actually be comfortable. So I wouldn't exactly go by what clinicians and doctors have to say. I mean, I do agree with them when they say, like, from their perspective, someone with narcissistic personality disorder is unhelpable because they definitely can't help a narcissist, because somebody with narcissistic personality disorder, seeing somebody an hour a week labeled as a doctor, they're gonna BS them like crazy because it's 1 hour, you know, they need to look perfect so they don't get labeled crazy, etc., etc. If anybody can help somebody with narcissistic personality disorder, it's going to be you. You are either their lover that you share a bed with, or, you know, their sister that they grew up with, or their mother, whatever you are. You're on their inside life. You're there with them daily. I mean, even someone that they work with has to work with them 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. That's time where you can get into their minds. You can get under their, you know what I mean? You get to know them. Therapists, they do not spend that much time with their patients. And so if there's obviously no way that a therapist could actually help somebody with narcissistic personality disorder unless they were super desperate or suicidal or something. But I'm here to help you, the inside person who's actually close to them, help them. Because, you know, you didn't get the same training. Honestly, be grateful. They mean well. I mean, like, I watched a video recently that said the reason why borderlines and narcissists attract each other is because the borderline's attracted to their confidence and the narcissist is attracted to the attention. Somewhat, but if you want the honest truth, honestly, we both know when you're a borderline or a narcissist, we know there's something wrong with this. We know we're messed up. I mean, look at how long our relationships last or how happy people are after we date them. It's in your mind. And I mean, we walked into those relationships with those problems. So what does that mean? That means we know we're flawed. We know there's something wrong. Do we like that? No. Do we want to stand out? No. So when the borderline meets a narcissist, what's the greatest part that really attracts you is it's, wow, I found somebody I can stand next to and I don't look that bad. Honestly, that's what we're thinking. When a narcissist meets a borderline, they're like, wow, what an emotional wreck. Like, this person, like, bursts out with emotions, you know, like, whew, I'm so glad I'm not like that. And then the borderline's going to look at the narcissist and be like, wow, what a, like, cold jerk. I mean, I could sit next to him and have mood swings all day long and they would totally understand why. Do you understand what I mean? And the way I can validate that this is an actual thought is look at a borderline or a narcissist who dates a normal person. If a narcissist dates a normal person, they're going to try and beat them down to their level because they feel crappy. A narcissist stands next to a normal person. It's like, well, they got their head on straight. They're not insecure. They don't get offended by everything. So it's just like, that sucks for them. But if they like you or they're going to date you, they're going to have to beat that down out of you a little bit so that way they don't look so bad. You get it? Or even with a borderline. The borderline's crying and just like, oh my gosh, like, I'm awful at everything you did, because they're hanging out with or they're dating a normal person who they look awful next to. You stand next to a normal person, you're a borderline, you look like your moods are all over the place, you're insecure, you have no self-worth, you know what I mean? But bring A to B, narcissist and borderline, there's an attraction, because it's like, wait, now I don't look so emotional, because as somebody dating a narcissist, he's a jerk half the time, so it looks normal to be emotional. And for the narcissist, he's like, oh, look at this person who's totally emotional and a crazy wreck. Of course I'm like, not even, you get it? But then it gets even deeper. We both know each other's messed up. We both recognize, so on the very first level, we don't want to destroy each other. We don't want to make a big deal because we're comfortable already. The narcissist is like, I don't need to destroy you. You're going to have a freaking crying fit in a minute anyways. And then the borderline's like, well, I don't need to worry about what you think about me because you're a jerk and you're feeding off of my emotions. So the narcissist does enjoy the attention from the borderline, and then the borderline does enjoy not having to worry because a narcissist is so focused on themselves. The borderline's not beating themselves up like, oh, I didn't do this right, I didn't do this. They're narcissists, you know what I mean? Like, who cares? Either way, they're pointing the finger at each other. But then it goes even deeper. So as it goes deeper, it would be more like the borderline does have certain needs, requirements in a relationship, or to feel confident or worthy, or good about themselves. So they apply that towards the narcissist, who now the narcissist needs to feel needed, needs to feel superior and everything. And by them needing that, it feeds that, But then they figure each other out at a certain point. So I look at it, there's two stages. There's two stages to the narcissist, and there's two stages to the borderline. So let's say the narcissist in the first stage, they're just a narcissist. They don't know they're a narcissist, but more than likely they'll be the ones to pick up first, like when they meet a borderline who's like, oh my gosh, I'll die without you, I need you in my life and everything. They pick up on, oh, there's a thing. They might not know the term for it, but there's a type of person that literally will die without me. Bing! They love this. Even more so, if I just want them to give me more attention, I'll just walk out the door and they'll freak, you know what I mean? That would be like the borderline on the first level, and that's when the narcissist moves up to their second level. So then though, what happens though is borderlines, as they go through life, if you've dated enough narcissists, you get up to your second level where you go, wait a minute, this person depends and thrives and feeds off of all that emotion that I give, my pathetic acts of however other people make me feel. A narcissist actually depends on that. So when I go cold on them and I completely shut off my emotions and I look at them like they're absolutely worthless and I never cared, they crumble. So then they realize the powers. And so it's the different levels. And then, War of the Roses is a definite great term, the Tango, however you want to call it, which level they're at. I mean, sometimes the narcissist isn't even aware of a borderline, and the borderline's aware of the narcissist, so they actually play games on them. You know what I mean? Where they're just like, oh, well, I'll just act like I don't like you and I never meant anything that I said and I'm completely cold. It throws the narcissist off because they're so dependent on that. I need that reassurance that I'm a narcissist, that I am who I am. It's quite the War of the Roses. It can get carried away and out of hand. But they feed each other, and they feed each other. This is the honest truth of why this happens, though. To become a narcissist or a borderline, they'll always tell you something happened in childhood. I would say 100% of the time, 90% of the time, both of them were raised by narcissists or a narcissistic parent. Which, if you look at what is a narcissist, how do they treat their kids, there's two ways to respond. You could do monkey see, monkey do. They're still gonna have the same kind of wounds, though, you understand. So, like a narcissist, they want to become their narcissistic parent. But a borderline would be more so, I think, like, perfect example, in my opinion, like a scapegoat and a golden child. The golden child is raised to worship their narcissistic parent. You're happy when I'm happy. You get praised because I'm happy. It all depends there. But like a scapegoat, it's like, nope. Narcissism, like ultimate wall. So what do they learn? They learn from their parent, like, oh, okay, so I put up that wall. Nope, nothing's good. They learn to mimic. They mimic all the bad qualities, but the borderline would be more the one that was just like, oh, very good job. You made me happy. You're about me. When I'm happy, you're happy. I give you love when you make me happy. Worship me. Listen to me. It's about me. Me. You kind of get it. And then what it comes down to really, because I guess borderlines, I don't just guess, I know. Borderlines and narcissists, they are very, very similar, but there's some things that make them completely night and day. In a narcissist's mind, they're damaged to the point where they're their only voice of goodness in their mind, but they need a reassurance. So it's like their focus is going me, 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 me. Somebody devalue them, hurt them, whatever it is, but so they're going me, 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 me. How do I fix this? This must be about me. It's about me. It's about me. It's about me. A borderline has been molded and warped to a point where they're just like, you. I feel good when you're happy. What do you think? Why don't you think this? Do you think this of me? I know this is what you're thinking about me. You. You know what I mean? So borderlines go you. Narcissists go me. But they still have the same actions, you know, like, do you love me? You know, the narcissist is going, you love me. Of course you love me because that's how I know that I'm lovable, because that's, you know, but then the borderline's going like, I need you to love me because, you know, you loving me means I am lovable. I don't know. I know I'm probably not making any sense, but you must kind of understand what I'm saying. You, me. It's the core focus. Both are dependent on you though. Because the me needs to reassure themselves that me is right. And the you needs to reassure themselves that you think that, because then they know they're right. If that makes sense. But yeah, it's a tango. I will do more on this topic, but we'll start with that for now. Thanks for stopping by. Don't forget the like button. Subscribe!